Remember, AJ, it was 7 and 5 over 16 minus Mia, which is 5 and 7/8. So 16 should be the common denominator. So what would these rewrite to be?
7 and 5 over 16.
7 and 5 over 16 minus...
7 over 16.
No. It's not 7 over 16. 14 over 16. Remember, when you rewrite it, you have to multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. So how do we get from 8 to 16? We multiplied by 2. So you have to multiply the 7 by 2. All right, you got to remember that. You can't rewrite a fraction, just change the bottom and not change the top. Doesn't work like that. Now find the difference of the fractional parts of the mixed numbers. So what would be 5/16? Oh, it should be 15/16, shouldn't it? I wrote that down wrong. So what would be 15/16 minus 14/16? It'd be 1/16. And then what about the whole numbers? What about 7 minus 5? 2. So here's the deal. When you are subtracting mixed numbers like this, sometimes it works fine, like it did here, because this was 15 minus 14. But what if this number was a 7? So what would be 7/16 minus 14/16? It's going to be a negative number. Well, we don't need negative parts of fractions in mixed numbers. That just doesn't work, okay? So the book is going to show one way to do these problems. I'm not showing you that way because I think it's more confusing than it is helpful, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to make all of our mixed numbers improper fractions when we add or subtract them. Okay, so here I need to do 2 and 1/3 minus 1 and 2/3. 2 and 1/3 minus 1 and 2/3. So you can see if you try to subtract the fraction parts, 1/3 minus 2/3 is going to give you a negative value. So you don't need a negative part of your fraction that makes it break down. So let's make our fractions, or let's make our mixed numbers into improper fractions.
3 plus 2 or 3 times 2?
Okay, well let's think about what this really means. If you have 2 and 1/3. So we're going to do it visually first, before I show you the math steps. So maybe you understand what's happening. So 2 and 1/3. So let's say that I have 2 whole buildings, and then I have 1/3 of another building, okay? So let's divide all of these buildings into thirds, like that. So if I had 2 whole ones, I would have all of these parts. And then if I had 1/3 of the last part, because it's 2 and 1/3, what does that equal up to be in fractions?
3 over 2.
No.
No. 2 over 1.
No.
No, 3 over... No.
How many thirds do I have?
3.
No.
7.
I have 7. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Does everybody see where that's coming from? I have 7 1/3. So if I have 7 1/3, I can think of that as being 7/3. Right? Because I've got 3/3 here, plus 3/3 here, plus 1/3 there, which is 7/3. Okay, now what about the second number? What about 1 and 2/3? Okay, well, let's do the same idea. Let's give us 2 whole buildings. If I have all of the first one, because I have 1 whole one, and then I have 2/3 of the second one, then what would that be as an improper fraction? No. I have, again, the building's divided into thirds. I have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5/3. So that's what we're actually doing, okay? Now the math way that we can do it quickly without drawing everything out is you take the whole number, you multiply it by the denominator. So 2 times 3 is 6. And that's where this number comes from. You see how we had 6 whole pieces? That's this part. And then we want to add this one piece that's left over here. So it's 7. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. That's how you get the 7/3. And then same idea here. You have one whole one. So 1 times 3 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. So the 1 times 3 gives you this number. And then you add these two, 4 and 5, to get 5/3. So now we would be doing the problem 7/3 minus 5/3. Do those have the same denominator? Yes, so we keep it. And then we combine the numerators. 7 minus 5 is 2. So 2 and 1/3 minus 1 and 2/3 gives an answer of 2/3. Okay, now it asks me to find 8 minus 3 and 3/4. So again, let's think about this visually. If I had 8 whole things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I want to take away 3 and 3/4, well, that's going to be 3 whole ones, and then 3/4 would be part of a fourth one. So we need 4 buildings. So let's show the 3 and 3/4, because that's our number with a fraction. So if I think about dividing this into 3 pieces, right, or into 4 pieces, that was a bad drawing. Okay, so I would have all of 3 of them. So I would have all these, all of these, all of these, and then I've got 3/4 of these. So 3 out of 4. So what is 3 and 3/4 as an improper fraction?
15/4.
15/4. Yes. Is everybody good with that? Now what is 8 as an improper fraction? Okay, yeah, we could think of it as being 8/1. But is that going to help me in this problem? No, because why? Because we're subtracting fractions, and when you subtract fractions, you need what? A common denominator. So we could think about this as 8/1 minus 15/4, but then we would have to find a common denominator, right? Well, what is that common denominator going to be? 4. That means I'm going to take all of these 8s, or these 8 whole things, and divide them all into 4 pieces. So how many pieces is that? Well, this would be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So 8/1 is the same thing as 32/4. How did we get that? Well, we need a common denominator, so we multiplied by 4 on the top and bottom. 8 times 4 is 32. 4 times 1 is 4. And then we subtract from 15 over 4. Do we have a common denominator? Yes, so we keep that. And then combine the numerators. 32 minus 15 is 17. So my answer here would be 17 over 4. Now, if it's not multiple choice, then this is correct. And we are finished. But what if we have a multiple choice test and 17 over 4 is not on there? We're going to have to make that into a mixed number. Okay? So how do we take an improper fraction and turn it back into a mixed number? You divide. So what does 17 over 4 mean? It means we're taking 17 and we're dividing it into 4 pieces. So 4 goes into 17 how many times? 4. 4 times 4 is 16. We subtract, we get a remainder of 1. So now here's how a mixed number is formed. The remainder is my numerator. And that's put over the number I was dividing by, which is 4. So 17 over 4 is the same thing as 4 and 1/4. So that would be the mixed number representation. And I just want to show you where that comes from. Think about if I had 17 of these 4s. We'll count them out. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So you see how we got 4 whole boxes plus 1 little box? So 4 and 1/4. Right? That's where that comes from. 17 over 4 is the same thing as 4 and 1/4. $44 over 5?
Yeah, and for the next number, I got 8 and 4 over 5.
8 and 4 over 5?
Yes.
Does everybody agree with that?
I've got 44 and 5, but how did you get 8 and 4/5?
Okay, you have to divide, right?
Divide, you can do 44 divided by 5.
44 divided by 5?
Oh, yes.
9 times
5 goes into 44 how many times?
8.
8. 8 times 5 is 40. So you're left with 4. So you have 4 left out of the 5 that you divided by. So 8 and 4/5. Do I need to go over that one? Yes?
No.
Hold on. How do you get 8 and 4/5? Did you get 44 over 5?
I got 9 over 5. I subtracted. I only did the shading.
You did the shading way? But you didn't get 44 over 5 when you shaded?
I didn't know.
You didn't know what you got? Okay. So if I have 11 and 2/5, that means I'm going to need 12 whole pieces. Right? And they're being divided into fifths. So that means I need 4 lines on all of them. Let me zoom in so I can. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boy, I didn't draw the same number, did I? Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so how many does this give me? That's 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I need 2/5. So I need another one. And it's going to be divided into 5. Then I'm only shading 2 of them. Okay, so let's think. How many do we have total? Well, we've got 5 here, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 45, 50, 55, and then we're only picking 2 of these.
So you do 11 times 5?
Yes, Grant.
I thought it was
Yes, so that would be 57 over 5 from the first one. Right, and remember the shortcut would be 11 times 5 is 55. 55 plus 2 is 57 over 5.
I don't know 11 plus 5, and they'll answer that times 2.
You did what?
11 plus 5 and answer.
11 times 5. Okay, now the next one is 2 3/5. So I'm just going to use the same drawing because I don't, well, no, I'll just do another one. That's not near as many. Okay, so 2 3/5 means I need 2 whole ones. And then 3 parts of this one. So that's going to give me, this whole one gives 5. This one gives 5, so that's 10. And then 3 parts here would be 11, 12, 13. So I've got 13 parts, and they're each divided into 5 pieces. And then we'll be looking to subtract these. So 57 over 5 minus 13 over 5, which is 44 over 5. Right, when we subtract. Keep the denominator the same. And then 57 minus 13 is 44. Any other questions on the first one? 11 2/5 minus 2 3/4. Okay, what about K? Anybody think they got K? Okay, let's do K. So what would be my common denominator? Yes. And if you don't remember how to get that, remember we list the multiples. So the multiples of 8 would be 8, 16, 24. The multiples of 12 would be 12, 24, 36. Then you pick the smallest one that matches in both lists. So there's no 8, there's no 12, there's no 16, but there is a 24 in both of these. So this would be 5, and instead of 3/8, I want it to be over 24. So how did I get from 8 to 24? Multiply by 3. So I have to multiply the top by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And now the next one is 4 and 11/12. But I want it to be over 24, so how could I get from 12 to 24? Multiply by 2, so I need to multiply the top by 2. 2 times 11 is 22. So I've got 5 and 9/24 minus 4 and 22/24. questions? Everybody's okay with that? Now, if I'm subtracting mixed numbers, I need to change them into improper fractions. So now, 5 times 24 is... How about this?
420.
Yeah. How'd you get that? Did you do it on your paper?
But you could also do 4 times 5, and then add the 0.
That's still on your paper. Yeah. Anybody know how to do 5 times 24 in their head?
No.
Do you know what 10 times 24 is?
2,400, or not, 240.
How do you know that?
Just add a 0.
When you multiply by 10, you add a 0 to the end. So 5 times 24, I don't know, but 10 times 24 is 240, and 5 is half of 10. So if you half 240, you get 120. That's how I would do that in my head. So I've got 120. 5 times 24 is 120, and then 120 plus 9 is 129 over 24. Then subtract, and then 4 times 24. Four times 24. So let's go over here on the side and do it.
128.
No. 24 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So 4 times 24 is 96. Then 96 plus 22 is 118. So this should be 118 over 24. Now I have a common denominator of 24. So I want to keep that, and then combine the numerators. 129 minus 118 is 11. If you need to stack that, you can, right? 129 minus 118. 9 minus 8 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So that would be your final answer on K is 11 over 24.
You turn that into a mixed number.
No, it won't turn into a mixed number because the top is smaller than the bottom, right? If the numerator is smaller, then it can't be a mixed number. Any questions there? And so the last one is 7 minus 1.5. 7 minus 1 1/2. So I want to make 7 into a fraction. So that's going to be 7 over 1. And then we want to make 1 1/2 into an improper fraction. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So I've got 3 halves. Now subtract fractions. I need a common denominator. So between 1 and 2, the common denominator should be 2. Now we have to go back and make sure we multiply. How did we get from 1 to 2? So I have to multiply the top by 2. 2 times 7 is 14. Now the second one used to be 2, and it's still 2. So how do we get from 2 to 2? Multiply by 1, so I multiply the top by 1, it's still 3. Now I have a common denominator, so I keep it the same, and then combine the numerators. 14 minus 3 is 11. So that would be 11 over 2. Now if I had to make that into a mixed number, I would need to divide. So 11 divided by 2. 2 can't go into 11. I'm sorry, 2 can't go into 1, but it can go into 11 5 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract, you have a remainder of 1, and you divide it by 2. So 11 halves is 5 1/2. Answered. What needs to be our common denominator? 9. So good, we've already got a common denominator. So let's make these improper fractions. 7 times 9 is 63. 63 plus 4 is 67 over 9 plus 10 times 9, 90 plus 2, 92 over 9. Now my common denominator is going to stay 9, and then combine the numerators. 67 plus 92 should be 159 over 9. Now if I needed to make this into a mixed number, I would divide. 159 divided by 9. 9 goes into 1. It can't. 9 goes into 15. 1 times 9 is 9. We subtract. That leaves us with 6. Bring down a 9. 9 goes into 69. 7 times. 7 times 9 is 63. We're left with 6. So that would be our remainder. So it goes in the numerator over the number we divided by, which is 9. So 17 and 6 over 9. These are your two possible answers. 159 over 9 or 17 and 6/9.